In this video, I will be showing you how to use ReadySignal's R library, which allows users to integrate ReadySignal into their R programs. As you can see on this ReadySignal API documentation page found within ReadySignal's Help Center, this library is designed to be a wrapper for the ReadySignal API, and it adds those functions within an R package that allows a tighter integration between ReadySignal and any R programs that you're working with. So to get started, I'll point out first that I already have a signal created. I have some weather features that we will be exploring, and I have the geo grain at state and time grain at month. It's also important to note that you can find your signal ID right here. It's also up in the URL. And when we click on our output button, we also see the access token. So those will be required when interacting with the R library. All right, so to get started, I'm going to hop over into RStudio. I have a blank script. I just barely opened RStudio, so I don't have anything in the environment yet. So first thing we need to do is to install the ReadySignal library, if you haven't already. To do that, we need to bring in DevTools, which if you don't have that already, you can install with just the normal install packages command. I already have that installed, so I'm not going to worry about it. Once you have DevTools installed and loaded, then you will run DevTools and install _GitHub. And the GitHub repo for the ReadySignal R connector is rxa-io/ReadySignal-R. If you look at the ReadySignal API documentation, that's right there, in case you just want to copy it. I also have the ReadySignal library installed either, so I'm not going to run any of those commands. Once that is installed though, next step is to load the ReadySignal library, which is just called ReadySignal, and run that. So now we have ReadySignal loaded into our R environment. We can kind of explore some of the functions that are available through this package. So you can see right here we have Git Signal, Git Signal Details, List Signals, and Signal to CSV. These functions follow ReadySignal's API pretty closely, being that this package is just a wrapper for that API. And the usage for each of those functions can be found on that help page in the ReadySignal Help Center. You can also just use R's built-in help. So if we do more information about list signals, right here in our help pane within RStudio, we'll tell you just need an access token, and it returns a data frame containing the list of signals. So feel free to use that with any questions on how to use these functions. So just to maybe run through a little example, we're going to pull down a signal that I created that I was showing off a second ago, and just inspect the data a little bit. So first, what we need to do is bring in an access token. As you can see with this list signals, one of the parameters is your ReadySignal access token. And in fact, all of the ReadySignal functions do require an access token. So let's set that up right now. If I could just paste my token here, but rather than always pasting and moving things around, I have my access token saved into an environment variable. So I'm just going to do system.get and I have it called rsig token. So run that, you can see I have my token right here. But like I said, you can just paste in the string, whatever works with you. I'm also going to bring in my signal ID, which is 207, which is found just right here. So now I have my signal ID and my access token. So maybe we can start by looking at the details of the signal by using Git Signal Details. And we just give it the access token. and the signal ID. If we run that, we can look at our details, and this is a list of details about our signal. So we have like the analysis type, industry name. There's some information about myself as the user who created the signal. Some other stuff in there that is useful when you're trying to get some meta information about your signals. The most important function, though, I'd argue, is the actual Git Signal function. So let's do that next. It's going to be a similar function signature with access token and signal ID as the parameters. And so I'm going to run that. And if we look right here in the environment, looks like we have this data object of 600 rows and 8 variables. So if we inspect it a little more down here, as you see, we have the state, because that's the grain I chose for the geographic grain, and we have rainfall, snow cover, and some other weather measurements. So from here, you can really do whatever your heart desires with this data. You can bring it into your data science process as controlled data. You can use it for a number of different applications. But since we have this data here, I thought it might be beneficial to just inspect it a little further by doing some basic plotting. But to avoid just watching me write some R code, I'm going to paste in some code first. So I'm going to bring in tidyverse and maps and mapproj. You can install these in a similar way as other R packages. I'm going to alter this data that we brought in by getting rid of some null values and then grouping by state and getting some average counts. Next up, I'm going to create a scatter plot between the average snow cover and the average snowfall. So let's take a look at that. And maybe I'll make this window a little bigger. So that's something you might expect. Snowfall, especially when it's averaged, and snow cover, it's pretty small for many states in the US. We can also make a map that will kind of like a heat map for the United States showing one of the features in our data frame. So once again, I'm just going to paste in some code rather than walking through some of this transformation code. If we run that, looks like we have a nice plot showing kind of like a heat map of average rainfall by different states in the US. So that's just a little bonus thing that I thought it might be fun to go over. But the main focus is by using some of these Ready Signal connectors, really makes connecting to Ready Signal a lot easier, and you can bring it right into your R program. And if we hop over to that page, under API integrations, as you might expect, there's also one for Python, and then there's a normal API too. So really anything that you're working on can be connected back to Ready Signal to make the process a lot easier. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching,